In this quick little tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how I apply textured wallpaper to my tumbler. Hello and welcome back to Everything Tumbler Tutorials. My name is Rebecca and I am a tumbler designer. And I'm going to show you how fun this is to apply to the tumbler. Remember, everything shown in this tutorial will be listed and linked for you down in the description box below. So let's go ahead and get started. So I was on Amazon just browsing around looking for actual wrapping paper when I came across this beautiful textured wallpaper. Yes, this is wallpaper that I had to have. I had to give it a try because I'll always try some type of medium on a tumbler. Anyways, it does have a sticky adhesive backing, but not nearly as sticky as actual vinyl, but enough to where I didn't have any lifts or any of that once it was completely wrapped around the tumbler. So I just get it wrapped on the tumbler, and then I'm just going to use regular painter's tape, as I've done so many times in the past, to go ahead and tape off the top as well as the bottom. And I'm going to use my X-Acto knife to make nice, clean, straight lines. Once that was completed, I went ahead and used my tabletop cutter just to really finish off that bottom really nicely. And then again, I'm going to use painter's tape as a guide to make a nice straight seam right down the back. Once that was all situated, it was time to go in, make sure everything was protected so that I could spray paint the tumbler a solid white. And I'm going to go in and use Girlfriend, which is a diamond cut from AB Designs Co. Beautiful white glitter. I am going to use the spray paint as my glitter adhesive, which I've done so many times in the past. Once you have a nice solid coverage of your glitter, I'm going to go ahead and let this completely dry, and then I'm going to clear seal it with the clear seal from Rust-Oleum. Once that's dry, we can move on to our first coat of epoxy. Once you have everything nice and glittered, make sure you tap off the excess glitter before you seal it with the clear seal from Rust-Oleum. Again, once I'm happy with this stage, I'm going to go ahead and remove all of my protection from the tumbler and just let it dry. Once everything was nice and dry, it was time to go in with the first coat of epoxy. For this first coat of epoxy, I am going to be using the Turbo Facet from Counterculture DIY. In about an hour, we can move on to the next step. Okay, so here's where things take a turn for the worst. This tumbler overall was not a fail, and I did continue to follow through, but you'll notice right away that the texture has disappeared under the epoxy. So that's when I jumped into action and went ahead with the pink one. So for this one, I just simply replicated all the first steps that you've already seen, except that you can see that I was extremely careless in my glittering. I didn't think this was actually going to work, but what I had done, as you can still see the texture on the wallpaper, so what I had done was seal this 3 times gently with the clear seal from Rust-Oleum. And just for an added little bit of protection, I went ahead and did a thin coat of the Mod Podge just in that textured wallpaper section. So just to quickly recap, I'm not 100% sure if it was the clear seal from Rust-Oleum or the Mod Podge that really gave it that barrier. If I had to guess, I would choose that the Mod Podge gave it the barrier to protect it so that I didn't lose the texture underneath the epoxy. And which, by the way, I did use the Turbo Facet on this one as well as the black and white one. So once the tumbler is completely cured, it's now time to go ahead and sand up and clean up the rim. To have a nice smooth rim here at the top, I'm going to go ahead and use 100% acetone just to clean up the inside and remove that paint. Once everything was nice and cleaned up, it was time to move on to the striping. So I chose the Tech Wrap craft vinyl textured gold vinyl because I'm just simply obsessed with it, and I wanted to use the same vinyl in which I used on the black and white one as well. Now unfortunately I was so desperate and I'm completely out, so I am having to piece it together, which is not a big deal because I'm just going to overlap to ensure that it sticks to itself so that I don't have any lifts when I get ready to epoxy. I am doing both the top and the bottom exactly the same way, and not to worry because under epoxy you won't be able to tell. Once that was complete, I was ready to go right into my rainbow roses, which I have been dying to use. These are from AB Designs Co., and I am literally obsessed with these designs. So I definitely wanted to figure out a way to use them on this tumbler. So just like the black and white one, which don't worry, you will end up seeing, I'm only going to design at the top above my striped section, and I'm going to use my X-Acto knife to trim off because I only want these to go into my glittered section. Well, I should say that was the original plan, but remember, as I stated in the very beginning, I kind of threw this one together because again, I wasn't sure that it was going to work, but it did. So now, because I didn't cut the back of the seam, you can clearly see where it layers in the back pretty wide. I think it's like 2.5, 3 inches. So what I ended up doing was taking one of the larger sections of my rainbow roses and placed it right in the center as a focal point. All in all, it worked out perfectly. The tumbler is beautiful and I am super, super happy with it. Again, I did design the black and white one exactly the same way, as I'm overlapping in the decals a little bit on this one, just so I didn't have so much gap. The black and white one, I used all black outlined flowers, so it really just kind of makes sense. Once I completed all the decals that I wanted, it was then time to go ahead and epoxy. In my epoxy coat, I am going to be adding in MJ's Gold Magic Mix, which is an incredible, gorgeous glitter additive from AB Designs Co. I used it on both tumblers, as you will see at the very end of the clip, so make sure you stay tuned for another half a minute so that you can see the black and white tumbler as well. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I really hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial showing the textured wallpaper design. These tumblers, again, can be made in so many different ways, and they have other color options. Make sure you check out the links listed in the description box down for you below so that you guys can find everything with ease. Also, if you like this video, please be sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more tutorials coming soon.